It started with the suitcase, not mine. His navy blue Samsonite tag still dangling like price-shaped ornaments parked by the front door like it belonged there. Mom was already crying. Dad was pretending to care. And my brother. He just stood there, arms folded, lips curled into that same plastic grin he wore when he got away with stealing my Halloween candy in 3rd grade. That smug, untouchable look. I wasn't even surprised anymore. What did raise an eyebrow was the timing. Graduation day. Mine and his twins. Same womb, same day, different destinies. Classic, right? Only this wasn't some cute Hallmark drama. This was warfare in khakis. See, I walked across that stage with a state college diploma in hand, debt breathing down my neck like a lone shark with asthma. And him? He strutted off the private school podium with 0 debt, a 3.1 GPA, brand new Audi S5 waiting outside like it was part of some secret inheritance plan I'd missed. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. Instead, I helped Mom make dinner. Roast beef his favorite. They didn't even ask what I wanted. I sat at the table like furniture, chewing through silence while Dad toasted our boys. Hour. That word hit like a belt buckle to the teeth. Then came the envelopes. He got his first hand delivered by Dad, all proud and red-faced, clapping him on the back like they were frat brothers. "From us to help you start off right," Dad said. My brother winked, slid his thumb under the flap, and out fell a pristine set of car keys with the Audi logo gleaming like a flipped middle finger. That's when Mom passed me mine. No eye contact, just a tired little "here, honey." The envelope was thinner, lighter, like it had less future inside. I opened it slow. No keys, no cash, just paper. I unfolded it. My vision blurred. It wasn't a letter. It was a spreadsheet. Header, lifetime expenses, my name. I thought it was a mistake, some weird clerical mix-up. But no. There it was, laid out like an obituary with decimal points. Formula cells, bold fonts, line items for everything from diapers, 1999 to 2001 to wisdom teeth extraction 2018, $1,400. Even my first laptop was there, acted as non-essential academic aid. No note, no signature, just math. Cold, sterile math. And at the bottom, a finaline in all caps. Total cost to raise you $184,972.34 return on investment. TBD, I didn't breathe. I just stared. The air got thick. My chest hollowed out like someone had reached in and scooped the meat from my ribs. My hand shook. My brother leaned over. "That makes you the family expense report, huh?" he said with a chuckle. I don't remember standing. I don't remember flipping the table. I just remember the sound of china shattering, Dad shouting, Mom screaming, and my brother's smug grin finally cracking as I slammed the spreadsheet into the mashed potatoes like it was their seat for their humanity. And then I walked out. No bags, no speech, no goodbyes, but I knew just made the biggest investment mistake of their lives, and I was about to make sure they never forgot it. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even go home. I drove. No music, no GPS, just me and a half tank of gas, chewing on Betrayal like it was a mouthful of glass. I ended up in a Walmart parking lot 3 towns over, watching a cleaning crew mop blood-colored soda off the tile floor through the front windows. Something about it made sense. Everyone scrubbing up messes they didn't make. At 4:13 a.m., I booked a room at a Motel 6 under a fake name, Alex Monroe, the alias I'd once used to prank call my high school chemistry teacher. I stared at the ceiling for hours, replaying every scene from the last 24 years under a new lens. All the moments I thought were just bad luck or growing pains suddenly rearranged themselves into something ohlier. How they sold my PS2 to help pay for his SAT tutor. Or how I got a cake from Kroger for my 16th while he got a backyard pool party with a DJ and fog machine. Or how they forgot to show up at my senior art exhibit because Jeremy's lacrosse banquet ran late. This wasn't favoritism. This was systemic neglect dressed in khaki and casseroles. By morning, I had a plan. Not revenge resurrection. Wasn't going to cry to therapists or start a blog. I was going to build something so blinding they'd have to wear sunglasses just to Google me. The only problem, I had $187 in my checking account and a piece of Corolla with a cracked windshield and one tire held on by a prayer and duct tape. So I sold the Corolla Craigslist, cash only. Some guy named Randy picked it up and said, "This thing's got personality," which is Ohioan for "you're screwed, kid." I pocketed $1,000 and took a bus to the city. I crashed with a guy I barely knew, Ethan, an old dorm mate who once helped me Keat on a geology midterm. He had a shoebox apartment that smelled like ramen and wet ambition. No space, no privacy, just 2 laptops. And the kind of hunger you only see in people who've been repeatedly kicked in the teeth and still smile. You still know how to code enough to fake it? He grinned. Good. We're building something that week. We started scraping resale data from liquidation sites. Ethan had a theory. If you know what's about to get discontinued, you can predict what desperate inventory managers will throw on clearance next week. We coded all-day split microwavable burritos. Barely slept. On the 5th night, Ethan found me standing by the window staring at a billboard that said, "Dream. Live clean." I was chain-smoking his American spirits, even though I don't smoke. "You good, man?" he asked. I held up my phone. On the screen was an Instagram story from my brother, him poolside. Shirtless, 2 girls in bikinis, and that damn Audi in the background. Caption: hard work pays off. # no handouts. Blessed I didn't say a word. I just zoomed in on the license plate. The bastard personalized it. GR8 foo. I laughed loud, kind of laugh that makes people nervous. Change of plan. I told Ethan, we're not just building something. We're going to bury something too. Because it turns out I'm not the only one with skeletons in the family closet. And some of them still had receipts. The first skeleton surfaced 2 weeks later, wrapped in khakis, doused in cologne, and wearing my father's fake smile. Ethan and I were deep in code, running prediction models and a bunch of liquidation truckloads from a bankrupt chain of home decor stores when my phone lit up with a notification, a known number. The message was short. Your dad's been dipping into Jeremy's college fund. Ask me how I know. No name, no follow-up. But it came with a screenshot. An internal Wells Fargo transfer slip dated 2 months before graduation. $1,000 moved from an account labeled Jeremy Trust Educationalists Only to something ominous and generic. Operational account. The name on the transfer, Donald E. My last name, my father. I stared at the screen like it was a ghost. Dude, Ethan muttered, squinting at the image. That your pops? Yep, what the hell is he funding? Operational account. Sounds like he's laundering his dignity. I didn't answer. I was already dialing numbers, logging into accounts I hadn't touched in years, digging up old passwords from the swampy corners of my brain. If this was a war, that transfer slip was the enemy supply line, and I was about to burn it. Over the next 48 hours, I found 3 more transfers, smaller amounts scattered across 4 years, all pulled from the Golden Boys Trust. Not one touched mine because mine never existed. That spreadsheet they gave me was the only accounting they ever did for me. Ethan leaned over, his voice low. You can tell your brother. I thought about sending Jeremy a nice little PDF attachment labeled how Dad bought his office desk with your future. But something colder clicked into place. No, I said I'm going to let him find out the hard way. See, the thing about my brother, he never questioned anything. Never wondered why his car insurance was magically paid. How his new apartment came fully furnished with West Elm furniture he sure as hell didn't buy. He thought he earned it. Thought that Audi was his coronation gift for being the chosen one. And I was going to let that illusion rot from the inside out. In theme time, Ethan and I got louder. The app we were building, Resurge AI, was working too well, honestly. We flipped discontinued patio sets for 300% profit, caught wind of a chain pharmacy over-ordering their summer sunscreen stock and beat their liquidation by a full 10 days. Pure profit. First week $640, second $1925, third $48,812. By week 4, Ethan looked at me across the room and said, "We need an LLC and a logo." I smiled. And a revenge fund. Things were moving fast, too fast, which is why it felt like a slap in the mouth when I checked my email that night and saw a message from Mom. Subject line, "Can we talk?" No, dear. No warmth. Just a block of text so cold it could have been written by a bank. Your father and I are concerned about the way you left. We feel that your behavior at dinner was uncalled for and dramatic. We understand you were disappointed, but life isn't always fair. We've done the best we could. Jeremy was rewarded for his attitude and consistency. If you'd shown more of that, maybe things would be different. That's just something to reflect on. Hope you're doing well, Mom. I read it 3 times. Every word was a paper cut across my gums. She called abandoning me a reflection opportunity. She turned 24 years of passive-aggressive neglect into a teachable moment. Replied with 1 line. You ever calculate how much it'll cost you when your favorite son finds out the Audi was bought with his future? I didn't hit send. I just let it sit in drafts. Waiting because I wasn't done digging yet, and I had a feeling the real rot was buried deeper than bank statements. The rot was deeper and moldier, and somehow signed in my name. I found it 3 days later, hooked between 2 PDF statements from my parents' joint account. both of which they stupidly shared access to back when I was helping Dad set up his online tax portal during lockdown. He was too lazy to figure out two-factor authentication, so he gave me the keys to the kingdom and forgot I had them. Big mistake. Buried under Statements 2021 was a file titled Loan App Final PDF. I opened it. At first, I didn't get it. Then, my name jumped out of the text like a flaming middle finger. Secondary borrower. My full legal name. They had used my credit to co-sign a private student loan, $22,000. Origination date, December 15th, 2020. I was still in college, then broke, working a midnight shift at a gas station, eating ramen and baby carrots for dinner. They were using my social toe bankroll Jeremy's last semester at Apervit University with valet parking and espresso machines in the library. He felt sick, but not surprised. They didn't even ask. They just did it. Probably told themselves it was for the greater good, or just a technicality, or some other psychotic parenting justification. And the worst part, payments were now overdue, 4 months behind. I checked my credit score. It had dropped 87 points since May. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my phone. I just sat there on Ethan's floor, trembling in a hoodie that smelled like sour coffee and startup desperation, staring at the smoking crater that used to be my financial future. Then I got up. Get dressed, I told Ethan. We're going to visit an old friend. He blinked. Who? Mr. GR8 Fool 1 himself. Jeremy was living in a mid-rise downtown for out of his savings, which I now knew translated to Dad's emergency stash and my destroyed credit history. We buzzed up to his floor, and I told Ethan to wait in the hallway. The door opened fast. My brother stood there, shirtless, holding a protein shake, and wearing the kind of look people get when they're used to being adored. Wow, he said, grinning. The prodigal spreadsheet returns. I pushed past him. Hey, whoa, you can't just you owe me 22 grand. Snapped, slamming the loan print out on his granite countertop in a damn apology. He blinked, laughed, then looked at the paper. I watched the grin die in real time. What is this? It's your tuition, I said calmly, courtesy of my name, my credit score, and my future apartment application, which will now be denied because you were too busy doing keg stands and Instagram flexes to know how loans work. I didn't know, he stammered. I thought, Dad, exactly. Did know. That's your whole personality, Jeremy. Golden retriever with abs. You never have to know. You just show up, smile, and everything magically happens. He looked like he might cry. Good. He leaned in close. Let me make this real simple, I whispered. You've got 2 weeks. Either you pay off every cent of that loan, or I forward the entire loan history. The trust fund transfers a few screenshots of your Audi's VIN to that cute little finance blogger you're dating. He pawed. How do you? I know everything, Jeremy, and I'm just getting started. I left before he could say another word. Ethan was waiting by the elevator. How'd it go? I smirked. Definitely read something that wasn't a gym contract. We went home and kept building. Because now the app wasn't just a project, it was ammo. Next body to float to the surface wore a pearl necklace and righteous fury. Grandma, not mine, theirs. My parents' secret weapon, their holy martyr. The sweet old lady they paraded around church potlucks like a prized goat. The woman who once told me with a straight face that boys who ask for help become men who expect handouts. She never liked me, not really. Said I had a sour energy, whatever that means. But she loved Jeremy. If him wore bonds, a Rolex from Grandpa's death drawer, and whispered prayers like he was a Kennedy running for office. So imagine my shock when she showed up at Ethan's apartment with a keiki. No warning, no text. Just her in Alavender sweater and orthopedic shoes holding a Pillsbury vanilla sheet cake, with "We need to talk" written in red frosting. Ethan opened the door and froze. It's for you," he muttered, stepping aside. She walked in like Shep had rent the cake on the table and looked me dead in the eye. "I got a call," she said, "from your brother. He's in tears." I almost smiled. Didn't know he was capable. She didn't laugh. "He told me you're threatening the family." "No," I said. "I'm threatening the lie you all wrapped in a trust fund and told me was love." Her eyes narrowed, reptilian and sharp. That Audi was a gift. He worked part-time at a smoothie place and failed calculus twice. Her lips twitched. "I didn't come to fight," he said finally. "I came to ask, what do you want?" I stood still. I didn't speak for a solid 10 seconds. Then I stepped over to the fridge, pulled open the top drawer, and handed her a folder I'd prepared weeks ago. Inside, copies of the forged loan, the bank transfers, and a list of every financial asset I knew my parents held, including her name on 2 of them. "I want them to pay off the loan," I said quietly. "I want my name off everything. Want to stop bleeding for a family that would rather draft balance sheets than say I'm proud of you. She leafed through the folder, didn't blink once, but I could see her jaw tighten like she was chewing glass. You could ruin them. Maybe, I said. But I'd rather rebuild me. She looked up. And if I pay it, my breath caught. I hadn't expected that. Not from her. Not ever. You do that, I said if she snapped. Don't get caught. Then we're square, I said. No leaks, no revenge to her. Just peace. She stared at me like she was trying to see if I'd grown teeth overnight. Then she picked up the cake, nodded once, and left. The door clicked shut. Ethan exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for a week. What just happened? I turned to my laptop. Leverage, I said, and now we wait. But the waiting didn't last long, because 2 days later I got a notification. Coming wire 22,147.92 memo for your future. That's all. No name, no smiley face, just the money. Clean, quiet, surgical. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking, not from joy, but from rage. Because even now, even after everything, they still couldn't say they were sorry. I thought the wire transfer would close the chapter. It didn't. It opened a whole new one where silence became the new form of control. After the money hit, they all went ghost. Mom stopped liking my photos on Facebook. Dad didn't text his usual passive-aggressive happy birthday. Hope you're staying out of jail this year. Even Jeremy radio silence, which was fine by me until I found out why. Ethan burst into our shared office bedroom one morning, holding his phone like it was radioactive. You seen this? I rubbed sleep from my eyes. He shoved it in my face. It was a Reddit thread, small, buried in a finance forum titled, "My brother extorted my family over a car gift." Is this financial abuse? Miss Domack twisted. The post read like a warped bedtime story. Abusive sibling who threatened to blackmail his way into cash after ruining a peaceful graduation celebration. It was clever, too. Light in specifics, heavy on emotional bait, framed me like a con artist with a grudge. Jeremy's username obvious at gr8fullsun94. The top comment cut contact toxic people don't deserve trust or Teslas. And beneath that, a reply. It was an Audi, but thank you 100 points Esau read. They weren't silent. They were rebranding. They turned me into Avalyn in a story they were telling to strangers. I wasn't just the spreadsheet kid anymore. I was the dark sheep. The angry loser psycho who blew up Thanksgiving over a misunderstanding. Burn them, Ethan said. We still have everything. The emails, the loan, even the damn spreadsheet. But I didn't answer because suddenly I didn't want revenge. Not the petty kind. Not the digital drama kind. I wanted witnesses, so I made a decision. I sold a chunk of our company shares, just enough to buy a few hours of time with a PR consultant named Brianna. Once helped a dog food brand recover from a salmonella outbreak. She was brutal, brilliant, and bored. My favorite combination. I gave her the backstory, the receipts, the Reddit thread. She smiled. Let's kill them softly. Her strategy, narrative, repossession. We'd build a site, a sleek, gorgeous timeline. Name changed, of course. All anonymous, but the bones would be there. Birthdays forgotten, achievements ignored, debt stolen, a car bought with someone else's future. Published the story as a case study. Title: The Cost of Being Second. What a spreadsheet taught me about family debt and self-worth. Brianna tapped Herpin. It'll trend in 4 hours. And it did. The post went live on a Sunday night. By Monday morning, it was on the front page of Medium. Tuesday, it hit Twitter. Wednesday, I got a message from a producer at podcast called Family Ties Unbound. Subject: We'd love to have you on. Your story is important. By Friday, I was the one being talked about. Not as the villain, not as the blackmailer, but as the survivor. And for the first time in my life, people didn't look at me like I was angry. They looked at me like I'd made it. It was Jeremy who broke Thessalon's. A week after the article exploded, after the Medium post hit 3.1 million views, and I got 3 unsolicited book offers, and 1 DM from a blue-check therapist calling me a voice for generational neglect. My phone lit up with a call from a number I didn't recognize, but I knew it was him. I let it ring twice. 3 times, then picked up and said nothing. Is it true? His voice cracked like cheap vinyl. Was any of it true? I let the silence stretch. You tell me. Jeremy finally said, Did I lie? He didn't answer. Instead, he said the one thing I never expected to hear from him. Not once in 24 years. I didn't know about the loan, about the transfers, about any of it. And for a second, I almost believed him, until he added, Mom said you were going through something that you always needed more. There it was, that family virus. The idea that asking for equal was demanding extra. Standing up for myself meant I was unstable, ungrateful, manipulative. I bit my cheek so hard it tasted like pennies. "You think this was about money?" I said quietly. "You really think I torched my relationship with our entire family over a damn car?" "No," he said. "I think you were waiting your whole life to feel like you mattered. And when you didn't get that from them, you lit a match. That one hit. Not because it was wrong, but because it was too right." "What now?" he asked. "You just keep going. Keep trashing us online." "I didn't trash anyone. I said I told the truth. If the truth hurts, that's not my problem." There was a long pause. Then asked the real question, the one that had been rotting behind his teeth since the day I walked out. "Do you hate me?" I'd thought about that, about the sleepover she got and I didn't. The new sneakers, the praise, the effortless way he moved through life, golden and dumb and loved for it. But also about the fact that he didn't ask to be the favorite. That maybe, just maybe, he was another cog in the same broken machine. "No," I said, "but I don't trust you and I definitely don't miss you." He breathed in like that hurt. "Good." Then I ended the call. Ethan looked up from his laptop across the room. "That him? Yeah, what'd he want?" I shrugged. Validation, closure, a hug, who knows. "Did you give him anything?" "Yeah," I said. "Same thing they gave me for graduation." He blinked. "A spreadsheet?" I grinned. "Less useful. A reminder. Because now the world knew who I was. And they were just the footnote under a story they couldn't afford to control anymore. It all came full circle the night I got the email from Dad. Subject line, final thoughts. No, dear son, no name. Just a wall of words trying to pass as closure. We read everything, your article, the comments, even the podcast. See now how you've chosen to frame your life one-sided, cruel, and dishonest. We raised you, fed you, gave you shelter. You call that neglect. You humiliated this family and for what? Validation from strangers. We won't be reaching out again. You've made your choice. I hope you find peace in it. There was no attachment, no apology, not even a line about how they meant well. Just a slow, sterile assassination of accountability disguised as dignity. Stared at it for a long time, then clicked archive. Didn't reply, didn't forward, didn't screenshot it for Twitter because I didn't need it anymore. By then, Resurge AI had landed its first official partnership, an e-commerce data firm that offered us a 6F figure contract with a handshake and a bottle of champagne Ethan couldn't afford to drink. I was living in a rented loft downtown with floors so clean they felt like betrayal. I had a business, a name, life I had built from the ashes they left me in. I wasn't rich, not yet, but I was untouchable. And the kicker, Jeremy DM'd me last week again. He's working some sales job now, struggling to afford car repairs on the Audi. Apparently, GR8 F1 doesn't cover tires or oil changes. Asked if I wanted to get lunch, talk. I left him on read. I don't hate him. I just don't need him. I don't need any of them. I've learned something. Some families measure love in dinner plates and birthday cards. Mine measured it in ledgers and loans. And when the numbers didn't add up, they chose to bill me for the balance instead of admit they came up short. But I paid them back. Not with money, not with venom. With success they'll never be able to afford. And I sleep just fine now. In fact, last night I slept like a king. While somewhere out there, certain spreadsheet quietly collects dust in a drawer full of regrets.